is Crew, and today I'm going to be giving you all a full tutorial on how to build my minecart station. This guy is so awesome and so unique that originally, when I did my showcase video on it, I was not planning on making a tutorial simply because this minecart station is absolutely huge. There's a lot of redstone in it, and it takes a significant amount of time to build. However, I was requested by a whole lot of people to do a tutorial on how to build it, so that's what I'm going to be doing today. Now I'm going to start off by showing you guys how this machine actually operates and how it's unique and why you might want to build it in your world, and then we will hop into the tutorial. However, I did post videos on some showcases, so if you want to see just this thing in action, there will be some links down in the description. But let me show you guys how this machine operates, because it is so cool. So starting out here, we have the line selector, and this is where you select the different lines that you want to travel to. Now, the way this train station works is you have the main hub, the main train station, and that is this building that we are standing in right now. So this is the main place, and then you have all these separate stations, and they are much smaller and don't do as much redstone for each of these places. Ooh, spooky cave noise. But when you travel to one of these places, the only option you have to travel back is back to this main station. So that way you can't go from this station to this station. You have to go from this station back here and then go to this line. And now to choose the different lines, all you gotta do is go ahead and push that button, and that will switch it up for you. Now obviously in this survival world, we only have one of the lines set up, and that's the ender line. And this guy actually brings us to the stronghold. So now that we have the ender line selected over there, we're gonna go ahead and cross over the rails, and this is where you can go ahead and set up the minecarts that you wanna bring. So the button up here chooses if you want to bring a minecart with you or not. And when I'm saying minecart, I mean a minecart with a chest in it. So you can choose how many of these minecarts with a chest you want to bring with you. So you can bring up to 4. We're going to go ahead and you know what? We will bring all 4 with us. And just in case you're confused as why you would want to bring a minecart chest with you, pretend you're going mining. You want to go to your mining village somewhere out in the distance. You can bring these with you. You fill them up with cobblestone and iron and all this good stuff, and then bring them back into your main station and into your main town, and then even transport them over to your farming district if you have a farming district set up somewhere. So it just makes this really cool system that you can use this train station for. So now that we have the different minecarts chosen, there's one final switch over here, and this is the master switch, and this decides if you don't bring minecart chest, you can flip it up, or if you do want to bring the minecart chest, flip it down, and that's just an extra check deciding if you want to actually take these with you or not. Alright, so now that we have our station selected, and we have how many minecarts we want to bring with us also selected, we can go ahead and push this button to call a minecart. That's going to send a minecart up, and it automatically slows down for you, and then we are going to go ahead, hop inside of that guy, and now as we leave the station, the minecart chests are going to follow behind us, and you'll actually be able to see them behind us. So that was us choosing the station right there, and now we're heading away, and you can see the minecart chests are just behind us, and they're just going to follow us to our next destination. Alright, so we are approaching the station. It goes down this windy hole, and then we get separated, and automatically ejected from our minecart chest. And then shortly behind us, we should see the minecart chest rolling in. Here they come, and you will see that they line up one after another in perfect order, just as they left the station. That guy goes there, and then we have the last one. And now we'll give you guys a scenario. We're going mining, we're getting a bunch of blocks. You know, we can fill up the minecart chest, and then when we're ready to head on home, again, this is one of these smaller stations. Obviously, it's not as pretty, and we have one option here, which is don't bring a minecart chest or bring minecart chest. So we're going to choose that to bring, so they are going to come with us. And then we only have one station to go back to, and that is the main station. So we're going to push this button, hop in our minecart, and you should see behind us the minecart chest should get triggered and start following us. So it's going to send us out of this windy road. Oh man, I think I'm going to be sick. Oh my gosh. Alright, and now we should see that the minecart chests are following behind us again. Good to go. A nice little train of minecarts coming through, and we will be heading over back to the main station. That's another thing to make sure of. It's not just you traveling on these minecarts. You gotta be worried about those minecart chests behind you. That's why we have these lots of fences around the tracks to try to keep them out. But we're approaching the station. We get set off here, and it slows down for us, automatically ejects us, and the minecarts go away. Now, this is really cool just for this station. But I built this little, oh no, I'm stuck in here. I built this cute little rafters that the minecart chests go on and actually come on down and then get funneled into their spots. So that's just a cute little extra feature that I decided to add. And we should see that they all fall into their places, just like that. And we can obviously open them up, grab all of our mining gear, and, you know, head back into town. So it's just an amazing redstone build that's just so fun to use. It's actually pretty useful because I use these quite a lot. Like for the Enderman station, when we were trying to build our Enderman farm, I would send materials over to the end portal, and that would help me and save me so much time because I wouldn't have to make trips back and forth and back and forth. But this station is just absolutely amazing because we made it circle around the giant tree we built outside. So I just want to sort of show you guys this real quick because oh my gosh, I haven't ridden it in ages and it is just so amazing. Okay, here we go. This is by far my favorite station. So you get sent up like on this bridge thing, and then we're gonna circle around the tree. I think we go through the tree too, and then we get like, we drop off. We're circling around the tree. Here we go. Oh, it's a little bit slow. Yeah, we go through the tree. We get, oh my gosh, we're going all the way to the top. I didn't know it went this high. Okay, and then we jump off. Oh, oh, that's awesome. Okay, so I went ahead and copy and pasted the exact train station that was in my survival world into this empty world, and this world download link will be down in the description. So if you want to download this for yourself, which I highly recommend, feel free to do that, and you can copy and paste this guy into your world. This is the nice, pretty looking one, but the redstone underneath it is an absolute mess. So what I went ahead and did is I actually compacted the redstone into quite a small size. You know, this is definitely more compact and more manageable than what I have going on over there. So I sort of redid the design. Pretty much everything is exactly the same. It's just much more compact. And this is what I'm going to be showing you guys for a full tutorial. And then heading over here, now this is one of the smaller stations, and obviously over here I have set up for 4 of them, but you can actually have set up for 5 stations, but feel free to add more stations if you guys really need to. But keep in mind, there's one main train station, and then there's going to be a bunch of these little train stations, which you can go ahead and set up, you know, wherever you want to in your world. Also, one final thing to note before we start, this track in between the main train stations and the little train stations, make sure that this is pretty much all powered rails. You guys can add in a couple regular rails, but if you add in too many, the minecarts with a chest, sometimes they move slower than the normal minecarts, and then if you guys get separated while you're on the track, that turns into a problem, and then, you know, they get unloaded and fall behind and don't make it to your train station. And so I just recommend keep, you know, golden rails in between the 2 different tracks. That just helps out so much. And one final thing before we do start building this, I built this track design facing east. So make sure when we start the tutorial, you are facing in the correct direction, which is eastwards towards the sun, and that's what these rails are going to be facing. You don't have to build it in this direction, but I highly recommend it just so we're placing rails all in the same direction and stuff like that, or else Minecraft gets a little bit buggy and it doesn't actually send them in the correct direction. Alright guys, so we're going to start out this tutorial by completing pretty much all of the rails that are used in the train station, and once we have the rails set up, we can go ahead and wire in the redstone. Also, keep in mind that you're going to have to be facing in the westward direction for this main part of the train station. And also to keep in mind, this is going to be the level of the floor. Oopsies, there we go. So this right here is the level of the floor that like you're going to be walking around, and then it sort of dips in one here where the train station goes by. Alright, so getting started here, you're going to want to go ahead and place a straight line of 14 powered rails going across just like so, and this is going to be the main area where the minecart's going to come up, slow down, and give you the option to hop inside of it. So make sure this is like the main part of your train station and you have an easy access to it. And then we can sort of build the rest of the train station around it. So a straight line of 14 minecart rails just like that. Then we're going to come to the end here, have one normal rail going down, and then 3 more just like that. And now what we're actually going to do, we're going to place a dispenser going just into this bottom rail, and that's what's going to release the minecart heading upwards. And then place yourselves a hopper going into that guy. And now we're actually going to grab ourselves some sand and 1 cactus. We're going to place that right there like so. You can place a block on that so it doesn't grow up. And you're going to want to place a block just on top of this dispenser, and that's just going to build you that nice little unloading station. Alright, so now to build the other side, you're going to want to come over to this dispenser that we just placed right here, and adjacent to it and 1 block up, we're going to place ourselves 2 powered rails, then a normal rail, 2 more powered, and finally 1 more normal. Now we're going to go ahead and place yourself 6 powered rails going in a line just like so, then an activator rail, and this is going to eject us out of the minecart. 4 more powered rails, and now what we're going to do is we actually want to break this guy, place 3 more powered rails there, and this is going to be a bunch of normal rails coming down, and to make sure it is connected to the one on the right, so it needs to have a slope like that. If it's sloping in the other direction like that, just go ahead, break this one and place that one there, so that way it's in that direction. Then we can place that guy back down. Now we're going to actually build ourselves this little brown line, so just have it swirl down. We're going to drop down 2, drop down 2 more, and drop down 2 more, and we will connect this up in just a second. But let's actually go ahead and finish this guy. So after these 3 powered rails right here, we're placing ourselves a detector rail, and then we're going to go ahead and build ourselves the green line. So coming out of the end of this guy right here, we are going to want to place ourselves a normal rail, and then just have this guy going down 2 more, down 3, and now we're going to connect this guy up to the cactus over there. So just have a bunch of powered rails going in a straight line up to the cactus and over the hopper, just like that. And you should see that a nice line comes up, and obviously we're going to want to go ahead and power these rails. I'm just using a lever, but feel free to use whatever you want. This line of rails right here on the top, do not power this, but we are going to want to come down here and power that guy right there, and obviously power you and power you. Leave this line unpowered and this line unpowered. We're going to work with those in just a second, but we can go ahead and power that guy right there. Alrighty, so now we're going to go ahead and move over to this brown line that we had coming down 2 more, and then down 2 more. And we're going to go ahead and place ourselves 1 more normal, and then 10 powered rails going off in this direction. And you should see that it, there we go. You should see that it lines up with this sort of incline right there. Then place yourselves a normal one and come over in this direction and sort of come up just like so, then 1 more normal, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky because your rails might not be lining up with mine. So this one, we want to make it turning to the right, and then place yourselves a detector, then a normal, a powered, and we're actually going to make this powered slanted up like that. So to do that, just place any rail right up here and then break that guy, and you should see that it's slanted upwards in that direction. And now we're just going to do the same thing. So 2 powered, a normal, and make sure this guy's slanted to the right, and then yourselves a slanted powered, just like so. The same thing, 2 powered, slanted to the right, detector, another unpowered, and then make sure it's slanted up, just like so. And this is going to be for however many different minecart chests that you want to take with you. And for this design, that's unpowered, and then detector, there we go. For this design, you will be allowed to take up to 4 different minecart chests with you on this amazing journey. So now we're going to come over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more. Put yourself a normal rail. Then we're going to come in a little staircase, and then have this guy leading up until it gets directly over this line of rails right here, and just have it slanted up just like so. Now you're going to want to go back and power most of these rails. So we'll power that line, power this line, these 2, and this guy. Do be sure to leave all these slanted guys unpowered though, and we will mess with those later. We can go ahead, add some power to this guy, and that line of rails, whoopsies, there we go. Just down there. So again, keep this main strip unpowered, that unpowered, that unpowered, and each of these little slanted guys, keep them all powered. But all the other powered rails, They're not 100% necessary. Obviously, you could use some normal in there if you're short on gold, or if you're short on iron, then feel free to use a couple more powered rails, but these just keep the system moving at a nice speed. One thing I did forget to mention after I finished the tutorial is just make sure that this activator rail that we placed right here does have power, and you can accomplish that by just throwing a lever on there or placing yourselves a torch, but that's just one little thing that I forgot to mention. Alrighty, so we are almost done placing the rail. Sorry if it's a bit confusing. Feel free to pause the video and also have the world download so you can see exactly where you need each rail to be placed if we're moving at a little bit too fast of a speed for you. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and set up as many stations as you want. Now keep in mind, this is 100% optional for how many stations that you're planning on using. If you want to use more, you know, we can just add in some more just like this. If you want to use less, feel free to add in just one station if you so care to. But anyway, what we're going to go ahead and do here is we're going to place yourselves a normal rail, and then this is where we're going to have our station leading to. So once it goes off in this direction, feel free to have it move anywhere. You know, it can go straight forward, up, down, left. Just have it go off into another train station. And then we're going to go ahead, place yourselves a powered, then a normal, and then 2 powered. And again, we're going off in another random direction wherever you choose to go. We're just going to keep this design up for however many stations we have. Now, do keep in mind, do keep in mind it does matter, these powered rails that you have going to your track. I recommend pretty much just using nothing but powered rails for this if you guys are unsure, because if you don't use enough powered rails, the minecart chest will travel slower than your minecart that you're sitting in, and that won't be good because then they'll start falling behind. So once we have those guys set up on the front, we're going to mess around with the back now, so make sure we place a rail there, and then we're going to do 2 just like that, and then another rail there, 2 just like that. And you should see that they are all sort of connected, facing towards the leftwards direction. Alrighty, so now that we have that, we're just going to want to place ourselves a lever on each of these little red blocks that I made here. And this is going to go ahead and power pretty much every rail here. We're not going to leave anything unpowered, and you can also go ahead and throw a little lever on that guy to power that guy. But again, keep these 2 lines unpowered. Congratulations, we have officially placed every single rail that we're going to be using to build this train station. The only thing we have left to do now is to place the redstone, which shouldn't be too difficult. Now do keep in mind that as we're building this thing, if you stand facing towards this direction, towards your stations over there, you should be facing in the eastwards direction. If not, you're going to run into some troubles with the rails right now. Up until this point, you could have built everything in the other direction, but now once we start adding the redstone to it, you're going to have to be facing eastward. So like I reminded you at the beginning of this build, make sure you are facing in that direction. So anyway, getting started here, we are going to build ourselves some tripwire detectors. So I would say come up to where we have this green line heading towards the cactus, and we are going to place 2 tripwire hooks just like so. Whoops, and we're going to connect to these guys with some string, just like that. Now to the right guy over here, place yourselves a dot of redstone directly underneath of that. And then on the side of that block, a torch, 1, 2, 3 redstone dust, 1 more going in there, and then a torch on this block just like that. And then you should see that this rail up here is facing towards the rightward direction. And then as we go over it with the tripwire hook, it'll turn to the left, and then once we come off of it, it turns back to the right. And if that guy's moving for you, then you're good to go. So then move over 1, 2 blocks, and then this is where we're going to place our other tripwire hook, same thing on this side. And you're going to want to connect that guy up with some more string. Oops, I placed some more string up there. So come to the other side of the tripwire hook this time, and we are going to place ourselves 1 dot of redstone directly underneath of it. Then a repeater, come down here, 1, 2 dots of redstone just like that, break this block, and then we're going to place ourselves a redstone torch. And you should see on this side, as we go over it, that railway right there changes direction. So you see it's facing towards the right, now it's going towards the left. So if that guy's changing for you just like mine, you should be good to go. And then this guy on this side still changing directions. And that is it for the tripwire hooks. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to add is we're going to make these rails flash whenever we push a button. And what that's going to do is it will add this amazing effect of the minecart actually slowing down and allowing us to hop in it. And then it's going to speed off and go into its destination. So I'm going to use this little activation rail here as a marker, and we're just going to want to go to the other side of the railway. Then we're going to place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks, go over 1, up 1, and then this is where our button for calling a minecart is going to go. And now we can go ahead and delete these blocks if you really want to. Do keep in mind though that the floor is at this level, at least for the design that I'm building. Feel free to do whatever you want, but I like having the rails sort of dipping in here. It gives it a nice, train station feel, so that's what I'm going to be rolling with. So below the button, we're going to place ourselves 1 dot of redstone, then a repeater, another redstone, another repeater, 2 dots of redstone right there. Then we're going to have a comparator coming out of that guy, torch, 2 dots of redstone just like that, and then a torch on that side of the block. Now we're going to actually have 2 hoppers going inside of each other here, so just shift click them so that they're facing each other. We're going to break you and place 16 dirt inside of this hopper. It can be any block you really want to, just make sure it's stackable and it's 16 of that item. Now we're going to place ourselves a comparator coming out of that guy into a repeater, into another comparator, and make sure this comparator is on subtract mode, and we should be good to go. Now we're going to move on the inside, place yourselves 2 dots of redstone. We're actually going to put redstone pretty much all over this thing, and just like that we should be good to go. However, this guy does need to be a repeater. So what that guy should do is whenever we push this button now, the rails are going to flash for exactly 16 ticks or whatever, however many items you put in there. And then after those 16 ticks pass, you should see that the rails are going to turn off and pretty much make us zoom in our final direction. So one final step is placing this torch on the back of that block, and that's just going to activate the rails all the time. And then when we push the button, the rails start flashing, and then once they're done flashing, they will turn back on and the minecart will zoom away. A quick demonstration of what this looks like if we go ahead and push the button and then drop a minecart on the rail. You'll see that it actually slows down, giving us a pretty nice opportunity to hop inside of it. And then once it's done flashing, it will go ahead, turn back on, and we will speed away. Alrighty, now we're going to add a very small delay and actually trigger the dispenser that's going to fire out the different minecarts. So we're going to want to go ahead and place ourselves a dot of redstone right there, a repeater on 4 ticks of delay, another repeater on 4 ticks of delay, have this guy going into a block, then we're going to place 1, 2, 3 more repeaters on all 4 ticks of delay, and that guy will just trigger the little dispenser here and fill this guy up with minecarts, and this is going to be what's releasing all the minecarts into your train station. Now, if you guys do want some more storage, a thing that you can do is place yourselves a hopper up there, and then maybe even a chest above that with a whole bunch of minecarts in it, and that way it will just keep refilling your system. But keep in mind, once we activate it and it calls up a minecart, so you'll see there's a little delay, a minecart gets called up. If we don't actually hop in the minecart, it's just going to go down this green pathway and get recycled back into the system. So if you guys don't have too many stations going around, they should just keep getting recycled, the minecarts, and you can see it's right back in here. So it's a really nice design that actually refreshes your minecart if you don't happen to get inside of it. So come back over to the main to call a minecart button. We're going to follow this circuit until we reach this block right here, and then extend this guy out 3 more blocks. And then we're going to place redstone on top of all of that. Now we're going to try to connect this line right here over to this detector rail. So to do that, we're going to make ourselves a staircase coming all the way down until we are in line with this little railway system right there. Then we're going to come over 4 blocks and then start hitting upwards again, and we should be directly underneath this detector rail. Now make yourselves a nice line of redstone connecting the two. You will need a repeater so that way the signal can reach all the way across, and you should be good to go. And what that's going to do is if a minecart is actually coming back from the trip, it will activate the rails, and the rails are going to start slowing down for you. This next circuit does get a little bit tight. We didn't leave too much room for it, but what you're going to do, if we come back to our main button right here, come on down, and then we're going to place ourselves a repeater coming off of that little redstone dust right there. Then we're going to do 1, 2, you're going to have to break that block, 3, 4, and then what we're going to do is we're going to place a torch, have a comparator going into that block, 2 dots of redstone, another torch right there, and then place 2 hoppers going into each other once again. And now this time you're going to want to place 32 of an item inside of this hopper, can be any item you choose, and we're just going to come down to this torch right here. Make sure you place 1 dot of redstone, come over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and you should be directly underneath this little brown railway right here. And then have this block that we're going into, a torch just on top of it like so. Okay, now we're going to build ourselves a switch that's going to decide whether or not we want to take these minecart chests with us on our adventure or leave them here at the station. Now, I'm going to go ahead and place this lever right here, but feel free to place it wherever you guys want to. Any of you that are curious though, if you come over from this first minecart station, you're going to want to come 1, 2, and then 1, 2, and then up 1, and that's where we're placing this lever. But really you just have to make sure that it connects up into this block right there. But as we come down from this lever, place yourselves a repeater. Then we're going to come down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just make sure it connects up to this torch. That is the only important thing for that lever right there. Now we're going to, from this torch, we're going to come over 2 dots of redstone and have it going into that torch as well. We're going to build ourselves a little AND gate with a torch on the side, and then have this torch leading up with redstone dust into this block. And that's just a little staircase. Once we go up here, we're going to place 2 repeaters on 4 ticks of delay each going into that block for the next station. Then we're going to come out 1 repeater on 2 ticks of delay. We're going to come over 2 more, and we're going to have 2 more repeaters on 4 ticks of delay each. We're going to come over dot of redstone right there, come over 1, 2 more repeaters on 4 ticks of delay each, and then have that guy going into another block, and then 1 more repeater on 2 ticks of delay. And what that's going to do is when we actually, if we decide if we want to keep this or not, we'll turn it on mode. But if we go ahead and push this button, you will see that these turn on one after another, and that will release the minecarts one after another in a nice fashion, giving you this amazing train station effect. There are a few more things that we're going to do with these minecart chest loading stations over here until they are finished. The first one being the redstone that is 100% necessary. So come over to the detector rail that we placed here, and directly underneath it, you're going to place a dot of redstone, a repeater on 2 ticks of delay, and have that guy going into a torch. And you're going to want to do this for each of the different loading docks that you have, depending on how many you're actually making. So we have 4 in this station, so we're going to go ahead and do this 4 times. There we go, below each detector rail, just like that. And this way, as it's leaving, it will actually be able to change the rails and leave in the proper direction. The next thing that we're going to do is I like to add little half slabs on the top of all of these, and that's just so it comes up to a nice pretty start. And then there's this optional design that actually allows you to choose if you want to go ahead and take the minecart chest with you individually. So you can choose, if you want to take 1 with you, 2, all the way up to 4. And by doing this, all you got to do is add yourselves a little sticky piston there, and then put a block on the front of it. I'm just going to be putting a stair block, then place yourselves 2 blocks on top of that guy, and then a nice little lamp at the top for indication with a lever on it. Then we're just going to place 4 dots of redstone on the back of each of these guys, and what this is going to do is it will allow you to choose if you want to bring the minecart chest with you, or if you want to flick the lever and just keep it at the station. So this is keeping it at the station, and then this is actually letting it go into the next station and bring it with you. So that is really helpful. And then we can go ahead and break this guy and add in a lamp there. I like doing that just as a nice light indication as to whether you're taking that with you or not. And then obviously the final step is going to be to add the actual minecarts with a chest. And also keep in mind again that the floor is going to be on this level. So if we begin to cover up this redstone here, it's going to start looking like this. We'll add in a nice floor around here, and then we can access whatever chest we want. We can choose whether we want to bring the minecarts with us on the trip or just keep them at the station. So that is super helpful. And then if we go over here and pull this lever, we can choose whether we want to send any minecarts with us or keep all the minecarts at the station. We have used every single color of wool for this redstone tutorial except for one, and that is magenta. So we are going to go ahead and use magenta to build our final bit of redstone, and then we're done. We are finished with this amazing train station. So the final bit of redstone that we're going to be building is the track selector, and this is going to be how we select the different stations that we head to. Now keep in mind you guys can have as many different tracks as you wish. Alright, so to build the track selector, go ahead and go up to the track that you're building it for, and then we're just going to come back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks, and then up one, and then place a lamp on top of that guy. And this is going to be the button that you push to select that track. And feel free to move it back more a little bit if you need the extra space in your train station, but mine's going right here. So on the back of this lamp, we're going to go ahead and place ourselves a sticky piston with a block of redstone on top of that guy, and whoopsies, we're having a comparator right there going into that block. Now have 2 droppers facing into each other just like so, and then a repeater right there, and have that guy going into a dot of redstone. Now we're going to have another comparator right there, and then a dot of redstone, a torch, another dot of redstone, and then a repeater on 4 ticks of delay. Now, go up to this second dropper right here, and we're going to place 1 item inside of that guy. It can be any item that you choose. I chose dirt. That's a pretty awesome item. So, coming down here, now we're just going to connect this guy up and all the way here. Now, we got to be directly underneath the track that we're building it for. Then just place yourselves a torch right there. Alright, so there's one final piece that you have to add, and that is this last little sneaky sticky piston on the bottom of your machine. So, right there, and then just put any block of your choosing right on top of that guy. And now you should be good to go. If we go ahead and push this button, there we go. The track is now selected. We can push it again, and the track is still selected. Awesome. There's a little bit of a pulse in between each selection, but that'll be fine. It doesn't affect it too much. And now you're just going to want to build the same exact thing over and over for each track you have. So it's literally the same build, however there is one small difference that I'm going to show you guys. So pretty much build the same exact thing, 2 droppers going into each other, just like that, and then a repeater up there and a dot of redstone. But here comes the difference, guys. Here it comes. What you're going to want to do is connect up these dots of redstone, and you're going to want to do this all the way down. So for however many tracks you have, make sure you connect this line of redstone up there. So you can only have your track selector run up to 14 blocks long because that's how far redstone runs. So if you try to have it any longer, you will need to add in some repeaters here and there. But if you're building, under 7 tracks, you should be good to go in that department. So everything else is the exact same though, and then throw a torch on there and a repeater on 4 ticks of delay. And if we give our button a press, let me go ahead and push you. You do need to add in an item in there. Don't forget that, or else your machine's not gonna work. So if we go ahead, give the button a press, I think it takes a while for it to get it down. All right, now we should be good to go. So you can see this track is selected. So as we're going, now we're gonna go in that direction. But if we select this track, you can see this guy is moving now. So now if we go in this direction, we will go straight again, and then turn here. Alrighty, so this is what a finished station selector would look like. You can see we got all this, and it will select that station. And to make sure that it is working, you should see that this is the only rail facing in that direction. So that way, the minecart's gonna keep going straight, and then it's gonna turn. And if we select this guy, you'll see minecart keeps going straight, and then it turns. Anyway, that is pretty much it for the tutorial. You guys should be done with your awesome minecart train station. Now, I'm sure that you guys have a lot of errors and a lot of bugs and a lot of redstone mistakes that you have made, so I would advise that you download the world down in the description. This very project that I'm working on right here, this very world, you can download this and see if you've made any mistakes. Go through, make sure that your world matches this one, and you should be good to go. Now, I actually made a couple errors in mine, like this rail right here, I didn't actually place it, and that just makes the minecarts get stuck up here. So make sure you guys, place that rail right here, and also, a nice little helpful hint, place a block right there, and that will keep the minecarts inside of the hoppers, that way they don't go flying out. And another thing is, I would recommend that you guys put some slabs on top of this middle section, just like that, and then we can sort of cover up this guy as well. Whoopsies. Oh no, we broke some string, didn't we? Alright, we'll connect up this string, but you guys can place a bunch of half slabs in here like this. And this, oh no, this sort of gives it a nice look. That gives it a nice look to it if we do that all the way around. And that's what I actually did in my decorated version of the Minecart train station. I went ahead and added a bunch of signs over here to make it much more easier to operate for someone who's never operated a train station before. But let's go ahead and run through and give our train station a good old test. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is obviously pick our station that we're going to want to head to. So let's say we're going to pick Station 4 because why not? So there we go. Station 4 is now selected. You can see the little railway down there is now turned. So we can go head inside. And now we're going to want to check how many minecarts are we going to take with us. So I have a little sign here. It says on, bring chests, off, leave chests. So we are going to turn that guy on. So we are going to bring some minecart chests with us. And then we can decide which ones we want to take. So you can see if it's face downwards, it says don't bring minecart chests. So that's not going to bring any of these. But if it's faced upwards, then it's going to bring the minecart chest. So let's select, we'll select the middle two to bring because why not? And then we should be good to go. All we gotta do now is push this button to call a minecart, and that will send a minecart to us and also send those two chests on their way. You can see the minecart slows down for us to hop in, and the minecart chests start heading on their adventure to station number 4. And then once we reach the end here, we'll start speeding up and head off to station 4 with them. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I know there was so much information here, so many mistakes that could have been made, so many small little railways. Oh my gosh, I feel for you guys trying to build this thing, man. This is a very hard machine to build. So we have done it. We have built a working train station. Well, working as in you followed the tutorial 100%. And that probably isn't the case because we all make mistakes here and there. So please, 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 if you guys are having any troubles with getting yours to work, download the world and then compare the one that you built to the one that I have built and then see if there are any mistakes in there. And chances are you missed a redstone dust or you placed a rail in the wrong section or something like that. If not, feel free to leave a comment and I will try to help you guys down there. But yeah, we built this working, amazing train station. Also keep in mind that this is the main train station. The next tutorial that I'm going to do is for how to build these mini train stations. And pretty much we got the main hub here where you can select your different destinations. And then once you go to those destinations, you have this little guy. And all this little guy does is sort of store your minecart chest there and then send you back to the main station. So that way it's sort of, you know, this guy doesn't have a whole train selector. The rail doesn't slow down. It's not pretty in any fashion. It's just a nice mini station that works and then we'll send you over to the main hub. And then once you return back to the main hub, you guys can, you know, select which station you want to go to. I will be doing a tutorial on how to build these little mini stations in the future. There will be links on screen right now and also down in the description. Be sure to check those out because I'll be doing a full tutorial on how to build these little mini stations. Unfortunately, we're out of time. This video was ridiculously long. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to like it if you like it, dislike it if you did not, and subscribe because I come out with these amazing redstone creations all the time, man. And I do tutorials on a lot of them. So if you guys want to improve your survival world and build crazy things in your world just like this awesome train station, well then be sure to subscribe and check out my other inventions. Other than that, my name's Drew. Hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Adios. So we're gonna go ahead, flink a little bit. We'll see that the yellow arm moves forward. It grabs the door out of the wall. Then the door gets pulled to the side. This thing comes back and gets out of the way. And then a nice bridge opens up and allows us to cross over. Now, was that cool or what? So many different things happen.